Hi there, this is Deb from Me Time Relaxation and Wellness Studio, and it's now February, and I don't know about you, just really excited that we're 1 month closer to spring. Um, it just seems like the winter months just tend to drag, and as that happens, we're more cooped up and closed in, and it just seems like we spread germs from one person to another, right? And so as the months go by and the weather is supposed to get warmer, hopefully we can spend more time outside and just getting more fresh air, and then also reduce that potential for those spreading of the germs and those illnesses and things. In the month of February, we're going to really focus on our conversations about how to boost your immune system. And I guess one of the questions I'd like to start with is getting sick normal? And if you would have asked me that question back in, 2006 or a little bit before 2006, I would have said, well, yeah, it's just a normal part of everyday life. It certainly was a normal part of my life. I struggled with all kinds of allergies and also bronchitis and pneumonia, things like pneumonitis, which I didn't even know was a thing I had at one time. I had asthma. I was just every year I would cycle through some of those different viruses and viral infections, and yeah, it was just kind of a constant thing, and that was really my normal. But after 2006, I developed such intense allergy reactions that I had to start taking a whole different approach to my health and well-being. And that journey really forced me to tune in and pay attention to my body and the signals that my body was sending. And at that particular time in my life, back in 2006, my adrenals were in such a state of fatigue that they really couldn't even keep up with all those allergic responses and reactions that were happening. I was just in a constant fight or flight kind of mode and reaction within my body. But I guess what really changed me was starting to have those allergic reactions, those sensitivities to foods, which I had never had before. And as I, tried to work with just traditional medical allergy specialists to try to figure out what I was supposed to do to stop those reactions, I left feeling very frustrated and discouraged and disheartened, because basically I was just given just a bag full of inhalers and allergy, reducing medications, and an EpiPen. And that was basically my prognosis. Well, here you go. This is what you kind of have to deal with. And again, I was just so disheartened and disillusioned by that. And I was very fortunate to have come into my life at that particular time a gentleman who had been a pharmacist by original training. This was in the Minot, North Dakota area, but he was a pharmacist who kind of had become a little disenfranchised, a little disappointed, discouraged with the route that pharmacy was going with all the prescriptions of medications, and he just felt like there was a more natural way to help people. And so he started a more of a natural pharmacy in the Minot area, and at that time that was probably a very rare thing. But it was through my initial experiences with him that he really helped me understand how my gut was really the culprit of what was happening in my overall immune system well-being. And so as I worked with him initially, I had to change my diet completely. My diet previous to that was, I loved sugar, I loved pasta, I loved white flour, I loved, lattes with sugar and vanilla and things like that. I think the vanilla latte was my favorite drink at Starbucks, plus a little banana bread, of course. But, I had to change my entire diet. I had to cut out all of that, and I had to eat, more brown rice kind of based foods, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, good sources of protein, no white flour at all. I had to use more gluten-free kinds of flour, rice chips, and I love the Lundberg family rice chips. They are still some of my favorites today, but they became like my best friend because they were one of the few foods that I was eating that really I wouldn't have a reaction to. Of course, the fruits and vegetables were also much better for my system. And throughout that process of eliminating all those other foods and beverages and things like that, my gut got healthier. I still had to continue, though, to do a lot of work with another amazing person, and that she is a naturopathic doctor in the Bismarck area. And through her allergy elimination therapy that she does with acupuncture and acupressure, my body was desensitized to a lot of those foods, environmental things that I had started having these reactions to. And so as my body kept getting stronger, my gut health improved, I quit having those sick symptoms that I had been having before. I cannot tell you or recall the last time I had a bronchitis, the last time I've been on any kind of antibiotics. My life has just totally changed in that regard. I don't take allergy medications anymore. I rarely, hardly ever, even use an albuterol inhaler, and I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 16. So my total health and well-being has changed dramatically, and that really started at my gut. And so I urge you to really take a look at, what am I putting into my body? Am I eating a lot of sugar-based products? Am I eating a lot of processed foods, white flour kinds of products? What am I drinking? Does it have sugar in it? Some of these high energy drinks also, you just have to be cautious of those things as well. Our body is sending us signals all the time about how it is handling the things that we are putting into it, putting onto it, and putting our body through. If we are overstressed, we're overstressing our muscles with too much exercise or not enough exercise. All of those things can create signals, and often those come in the form of pain or very acute symptoms. So again, in this month of February, really focusing on boosting your immune system and doing that through good gut health. So really take a look at your diets. Really focus in on, when you're going grocery shopping, for instance, just shopping on the outside edges of the grocery store, where those fresh fruits, vegetables, the proteins, good sources of protein, some in the dairy aisle, but all that processed foods, try to really eliminate those, because those contribute to our guts not being healthy. Also, if we're on continual rounds of antibiotics, that affects the good yeast and the bad yeast that lives within our guts, and we all need to have a good amount of the good yeast in our bodies to fight off of those things. But the problem is that when the bad yeast, which is often called candida, when that starts to take over, that creates so many health problems for us. It can come in the forms of chronic fatigue. It can come in the form of allergy responses like I had. It can come in the form of depression, of kind of a foggy brain or foggy thinking, like you just don't have clear thoughts. It can come in the form of muscle aches. There are so many symptoms that result from candida, which is just an overgrowth of that bad yeast that's in our body, and that is coming from our diets antibiotics that we end up taking. It can also come from if you're on any kind of hormone therapy, if you're on the pill or things like that, especially combined with antibiotics, that can really wreak havoc on your systems. So do make just some smart, simple choices to change what you're putting into your body, fueling your body, and definitely, drinking water is very critical as well. Flushing out those toxins and moving those toxins through our body is just extremely important. Here at the studio, we offer, again, a lot of different services that really help to promote, number one, relaxation, which also can reduce that stress, which can also affect gut health and how we're processing foods and processing everything that enters into our body. And we're also focused on wellness. So through detox services that we offer with foot baths and our Fit Hot Body Wrap, just regular pedicures to keep your feet in good order is also very, very important. So if you ever have any questions or would like to learn more, I would just really love to hear from you, whether that's calling me at the studio or stopping in or texting, or however it is easy for you, messaging. Would just love to hear from you. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you learned something through this video today.